What's good, y'all? We back with another video. Today we got how rappers scam $1.2 million from the government. That's crazy though. We finna get into the video and see what happened, cause I ain't never heard anything like this. Never ever heard anything like
Desperation for money can lead people to do unimaginable and daring things. This desperation was probably what led a California rapper, Nuke Bizzle, to scam the government of $1.2 million. But after successfully pulling off this grand scheme, he went one step ahead and snitched on himself. So, what exactly are the details of this story? Stay tuned and find out. Nuke Bizzle was originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and as you know, the city boasts of many popular rappers, including Young Dolph, Yo Gotti, Juicy J, and a host of others. It's possible that Nuke Bizzle did not want to be under the shadow of these already established Memphis rappers, so he moved from the city and began to live in Hollywood Hills, which is one of the well-known and prominent neighborhoods in Southern California. But then he got into trouble with the law, and this is how it happened. On September 23, 2020, a Cadillac Escalade. He was a passenger and was stopped by officers of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. The vehicle was not just stopped without a reason. It had been speeding, and this, is sure to catch the attention of authorities. After the vehicle was pulled over, officers then asked for Nuke Bizzle's consent to search it, and he agreed. Well, this search allegedly turned up a couple of interesting and incriminating items. The rapper was said to be in possession of not one or two, but 8 Employment Development Department debit cards, and 7 of these cards had the name of different people. That wasn't all. Officers also found $49,734 under the third row of seats where he was seated. As to how he came to have the cards, Nuke Bizzle had told officers that it was because people owed him money, but officers didn't buy his story. He was then cuffed and placed under arrest for being in the possession of debit cards without the owner's consent. Now at this point, you might be a little confused about the turn of events, especially if you're not from the United States. You must be wondering, what exactly is all this talk about some Employment Development Department debit cards? Well, let me break things down. Let's start with what the Employment Development Department, or EDD, is all about. It's a government organization.
I ain't know nothing about EDD, none of that junk, all that scammage, I don't know nothing about it.
Specifically focused on workers living in California. And according to their website, the department performs many roles, which include connecting job seekers with employers, administering unemployment and state disability insurance, maintaining employment records for millions of California workers, and so much more. Now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, lockdowns were introduced and a lot of people were left without jobs or access to money. Apart from this being an economic disaster, people find it hard to keep surviving without a source of livelihood. To help reduce the financial impact on the citizens, the United States government provided COVID-19 relief loans and also passed a bill known as Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, or CARES Act, which provided different financial supports for businesses and households. It was specifically designed to expand access to unemployment benefits and economic impact payments, and anybody eligible could have access to these benefits. And Californians, in particular, were allowed to access these benefits after submitting an application to EDD. But some individuals decided to use the program to make some extra illegal cash. So, how did they do this? Well, they devised the means by which the identities of several individuals were used to apply for unemployment benefits. This identity can be a driver's license or any other form of identification. And this, of course, is done without the consent of the real owners of the identities. And usually, when the application process is done and approved by the system, the crooks gain access to the benefits meant for others. Now, this exact crime was what Nuke Bizzle was accused of after he was caught in the possession of those EDD debit cards. He was charged with 3 felony offenses, which included access device fraud, aggravated identity theft, and interstate transportation of stolen property. According to the reports, he allegedly exploited the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance provision of the CARES Act. To be more specific, he was said to have allegedly used identities, which were stolen to apply for unemployment benefits through California's Employment Development Department.
I was hearing people do that in Atlanta. So I know it was way worse in like other states and something like that.
Now that's not all. Remember the 8 EDD debit cards that were found in his possession during the traffic stop? Well, as it turns out, there was more from where those debit cards came from. Investigators were able to turn up with at least 92 more EDD cards which Nuke Bizzle had access to. Pretty shocking, right? And to even shock you even more, the cards were said to be preloaded with more than $1.2 million, which was money obtained through fraudulent means. Now, you might ask, how exactly was he able to have access to all those debit cards? Well, according to the reports, he allegedly asked for the debit cards to be mailed to addresses in Beverly Hills and 2nd Street in Los Angeles, California. And these addresses were places he had access to. According to a court document obtained, the property at one of the addresses in Beverly Hills was said to be a single-family residence that operates as a rental property, offering short and long-term leases. It was also said that Nuke Bizzle rented and occupied the property between June and August 2020, and even after he was no longer staying there, he went back to the location to collect mail. According to investigators, Nuke Bizzle was not the only one who was involved in this fraudulent scheme. There were mentions of co-schemers, but their names and identities were not revealed. Now, the rapper and his co-schemers did not leave their loot sitting in the bank. Authorities said they allegedly withdrew more than $704,000 in cash using the cards. Now, let's talk a little bit about the 8 cards that were found in Nuke Bizzle's possession when he was arrested. Investigators carried out extensive investigations on these cards, and they came up with quite some revelations. It was revealed that each of the 8 debit cards had been authorized by EDD based on applications that had been filed between August 5, 2020 and August 25, 2020. Also, each of the applications contained the applicant's name, date of birth, and social security number. It was also stated in the applications that each of the beneficiaries was a self-employed barber that resided in California and whose business had been closed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, to take things a step further, investigators decided to reach out to some of the people whose names were on these debit cards. One of the people that was reached by the investigators was living in Missouri and said he had never worked in California. He also told investigators that he had never been employed as a barber and had no idea who Nuke Bizzle was. The mother of another of the individuals was reached, and during the interview, she claimed that her son, whose identity was used, was attending college at the University of Southern Mississippi, and that's where he was living. She also confirmed that her son had never lived or worked in California, and before he went off for college, he had lived in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. She also further revealed that her son had never had a job and had never been employed as a barber. With all of these testimonies and evidences in the hands of authorities, the walls were gradually closing in on Nuke Bizzle, but if all that wasn't bad enough, there was even a stronger evidence against the rapper, and the source of this evidence was from no one else but himself. What I mean by this is that the rapper did something called self-snitching. So how exactly did he achieve this? Well, it happened that he released a track in which he
Why do rappers make a song about what they do, bro? Like, I understand you did it, okay, boom, 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 you did it. But why make a whole song about it? You were just incriminating yourself, like...
posted about his crimes to the world. Now, some rappers are known for talking about their lifestyles in their songs, and it seems Nuke Bizzle didn't want to be left out.
Local rapper Nuke Bizzle bragged about committing unemployment fraud in one of his songs. Well, now he's been arrested for exactly that.
The track, which featured another rapper by the name Fat Wizzo, was titled EDD, and this title was an apparent reference to the Employment Development Department. The music video for the song was posted on YouTube on September 11, 2020, which was just days before he was arrested by the authorities. The music video began with a recording which states, "Your card has now been activated and is ready for use." As of August 29, 2020, the available balance on this account is $21,000. The music video also showed the 2 rappers using a laptop, which appeared to show EDD's homepage. Also, throughout the video, the rapper appeared with large amounts of cash and mail bearing the EDD symbol as part of the return address. In the track, you can also hear the following lines which point to defrauding EDD. "Done got rich off EDD. Ain't no more licks 'cause of EDD. And just last night I was selling peas, and I just woke up to 300 G's. And also lines such as, "Unemployment's so sweet, we had 1.5 land this week." Not also forgetting about these lines. "It's time to ball like the NBA. 10 cards, I'm swiping 10K a day." A disclaimer was also added in the description of the video on YouTube that the video was made with props and was for entertainment purposes. As you probably would have guessed by now, the music video found its way to the desks of investigators and its content was well evaluated. The music video turned out to be a very powerful piece of evidence that even added more credibility to the serious charges that had been slammed against Nuke Bizzle. If you think about it, the EDD track was more like a confession by the rapper to the crimes he had been accused of. I'm pretty sure that it made the investigators' work even easier than they expected. As to why Nuke Bizzle decided to make such an incriminating track, I have no idea. Regardless of how catchy the tune of the track was, releasing it turned out to be not much of a smart move because it helped put him on the radar of the authorities. Now, the EDD song wasn't the only significant thing the investigators used as evidence. They also went through Nuke Bizzle's social media pages, including his Facebook and Instagram. And according to a court document, they reviewed posts on an Instagram page that was believed to be his. And one of those posts was said to be a live stream showing someone video recording individuals withdrawing cash from several ATMs while the EDD song played in the background. It seemed that with all of this evidence, Nuke Bizzle had been pushed to the wall, but surprisingly, he maintained his innocence by pleading not guilty to the charges against him. And afterwards, he was released on bail. But if he's ever found guilty of these charges, he just might be spending a very long time locked up behind bars. Now let me know what you think about this situation in the comments section.
Stupid,
Hey you,
bro.
yeah you.
Man, Nuke Bizzle, bro, like, he did it, right? He made a whole song about it, right? And now he's like, he out right now on it, but like, they might still find him accountable for it. He made a whole song about it. Like, if he make a song about it, he probably been good. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Rappers are crazy, bro. But hopefully you guys like the video, man. Yeah, man. It's not crazy, bro. See y'all tomorrow, bro. It's not crazy.